Welcome back to County Connection. For this segment, we're going to be talking about winter driving and the implications that that has for our emergency services out on the roads. And with me are Phil McFall from Summit County Ambulance Service. Welcome, Phil.
Great to be here.
And Steve Lipsher from Lake Dillon Fire Rescue. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, Julie.
All right, so we are well into winter, but since it's Summit County, we could be seeing it for another few months. So
Yes.
we aren't close to the finish line yet. And so oftentimes, obviously, we have a lot of tough wintry road conditions out there. And then when you add skier traffic into the mix, particularly on I-70, we see this. This can pose some big problems. We can see collisions, emergencies on the interstate, and that is where you guys come in. So when we do have these situations where we're combining winter weather and some of the tough skier traffic, what are some of the biggest issues that you guys are running into that may kind of get in the way of you doing your job as efficiently as you need to, or getting to an incident quickly?
I think what we see the most of is everyone's had a long day. They're tired, they want to get home, go. So en route to a call, especially on I-70, 63% of our calls are on I-70 with traffic accidents. Yeah. So. And
that's year-round, or particularly during the winter?
Oh,
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And with the urgency for everyone to get home, we see cars stack up, and there's very little space between vehicles, giving us that room that we do need to get to the scene. And it's anything from when it does get to a gridlock and en route to a call, we've seen everything from people walking their dogs out on the side of the highway, building snowmen, even taking a couple of turns on the slope there by the highway. That's the biggest thing we see, and we really want to see a nice, safe access to the scene. There's a reason why the cars are stopped. There's an accident. So I definitely ask that we have that room and available. So.
Okay, and so you're talking about leaving cushion between the vehicle in front of you, any other kind of...
And if you don't, the thing is, if you're stacked up so tight, when cars hit that car in the rear, that car bounce, it's just a big domino effect. So to minimize damage to the other vehicles, give yourself space. If you do get hit, you're not going to rear end that car in front of you as well. So.
Okay, good to know. And then we had an unfortunate incident, your team did, Steve, within the past couple of weeks with one of your fire trucks that was up on I-70.
Right. It's unfortunately not extremely unusual for us to have our apparatus hit by other vehicles. Typically, if we're up on the interstate, it's because there's been a crash, often due to bad conditions, inattentive drivers, people driving far too fast for conditions. Mm-hmm. And the worst thing is that even when we have emergency vehicles out there, people continue with the same behavior. Inattentive drivers, driving too fast for conditions, and on bad roads. So earlier this month, we were tending to a traffic wreck on icy roads, and while that was happening, first one car slid into the side of our brand new engine, and then another one clobbered it in the rear. And our firefighters are trained to actually position the fire engine in such a way that it helps protect them from having those vehicles come speeding by them and sliding into them. Right. We feel like we would rather replace a bumper than try to heal a fireman.
Right. And a lot of these issues are not just things that will help or hinder you in getting to the scene of an accident, but also, as you mentioned, the safety of the first responders who are there once they arrive.
Absolutely. It's number one. We really appreciate the 45,000 pound vehicle giving us a little bit of buffer between the moving vehicles and the scene.
Mm-hmm. Our firefighters consistently will tell you that the most dangerous incidents to which they respond are on the highway. Going into burning buildings has its dangers, but they can control that situation. They can't control other people's behavior. And so the message, and we try to repeat this in so many different ways to get people's attention, is slow down for emergency vehicles, pull over for them when you see them in your rear view mirror, pull over a lane to give them at least one lane space while they're actually working an incident. And, you know, pay attention, be considerate of your other motorists, because we can either have people driving at a sane speed and with adequate distance to our emergency vehicles, or our other option is we can close the highway until we feel like we've got the scene cleaned up and it's safe to allow traffic again.
Right.
So you can either move slowly and easily past us, or you can sit in your car.
Right. So yeah, there are the messages. It has been a long day. You're probably tired after a lot of turns on the slopes, but when you are in those traffic jams, take a breath, relax, keep that space, and be attentive. And so, Steve, you talked about looking in your mirrors during these situations and being aware of your surroundings. And that brings up the point of visibility, which I know, Phil, you have some tips in that regard. Is that right?
Yes, mag chloride, a blessing and a curse. We get that turbulence behind a vehicle when we're traveling, and that back window gets fogged up with the slime, and you don't really realize it until you need that back window. So we just ask that take a minute. If you have to pull over, safe area, or even a gas station, get that window, the back window, nice and clean. Your headlights, that makes all the difference for visibility in front of you as well. So it's about seeing what's in front and what's behind. So what's behind you is it may be a car sliding towards you when you're stopped, or it may be us with the red and blues going, so, or CDOT or a plow trying to come up, behind you and get around you. So keeping that back window nice and clear, mag chloride, headlights clear as well. So.
Okay, great. And then so aside from, or in addition to Summit County Ambulance and potentially like Dillon Fire, what are some of the other vehicles, agencies who people should keep an eye out for when they're out on the interstate?
There's almost an order of EMS and 911 response. We'll have fire, ambulance, state patrol, sheriff's office, CDOT will come in and they'll drop sand if we need that. Tow trucks are coming in, and if the sky is clear but the roads are icy, you may even see a helicopter. So that's why we need a lot, we definitely need that buffer on the highway. So. Yep.
And you talked about potentially clear skies, or being in the middle of a snowstorm. Our weather conditions can change pretty rapidly. So what are the implications there in terms of things people just need to take a moment and think about before they put the key in the ignition?
Is the road wet or icy? It changes so rapidly. With these warm, sunny days that we're having, we're getting a lot of runoff already, getting that melt. By sunset, it's going to drop down to 28 and below, and that's when they freeze up. So you see a lot of the, on the cant of the highway, the cant of the road, where that water's running off is where you get that black ice. And a lot of times it's always on the apex of a curve. So, know the road, and if you don't know the road, slow down. That's it. Err on the side of caution. It's better to be 15 minutes late. Just ask my boss. It's better to be 15 minutes late for work than to not make it at all. So slow down and read the road.
Right, and to be vigilant on those days where it feels like a warm, sunny day where you might not kind of automatically think that there'll be some issues out there in terms of traction.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And what other tips do you have for folks before they set out onto the road?
Well, we definitely recommend that they allow plenty of time to get to their destination, particularly in the wintertime, so that they're not speeding on unsafe, slick roads. And then, as Phil has often advocated, having an emergency kit in your car, so that if you end up stranded somewhere off the road, in trouble, or with a medical emergency, whether it's you or another motorist, that you have some tools available.
Right, and Phil, so you brought an emergency kit with you.
I did, and to back up, before you leave the driveway. It isn't just about you seeing outside your windows, it's about everyone seeing you. And a lot of times we see what looks like a submarine or something in a ship, a little port, and you see a little porthole and someone's trying to drive through that. Get all your windows nice and clear, your headlights, your tail lights, and also the actual exterior of a vehicle, clear that off. It's not always just about you seeing out, it's about us seeing you as well, or other drivers seeing the actual vehicle itself.
Right, so in addition to your windows, what about your tail lights and your turn signals?
And the hood of the car, or the top of the car. I don't know who hasn't seen driving down the road and seeing a big old slab of snow come off the top of the car into the car behind them. So make sure your car is nice and clean. And yes, I did bring an ice, I call it an ice bag. It's an ICE bag in case of emergency. This is just part of what I have in the vehicle. Obviously jumper cables, have got to have that. But with the conditions the way they are up here in Colorado, changes so quickly, we may be stranded. So build this to your own. AAA, Prudential, Progressive Insurance, they have great options as far as how you can build a kit. So I would suggest, this isn't mine, some at least 2 days worth of prescription meds. If you're in the vehicle, if you go off the road, highway, the one over Kenosha Pass, there's areas where there's a dead zone, no cell service. You may be down there for some time. So,
or even if you end up in a hotel overnight.
End up in a hotel, absolutely. Right. You know, toothbrush and some basic toiletries. One thing that I think everybody already has is a little charging battery for your cell phone. In the event your car is totally knocked out of service, you can have your phone charged up. Ibuprofen after you dig yourself out of the snow, but a multi-tool kit, a headlamp. I like a flashlight as well as a headlamp because I need both my hands, and I would rather have one person outside the vehicle than have a bunch of people out trying to hold a light on the tire, trying to change whatnot. So I definitely like the headlight. Shovel, mandatory. I like some sort of reflective gear that I can wear when I'm out on the road. I can use it to flag folks down if I'm down off the road. A toe strap, some work gloves. You know, for those business professionals, they leave thinking they're just gonna run to Denver real quick, and next thing you know, they have to change a tire on the side of a road in the middle of a snowstorm. So bring a change of clothes, some warm weather, or some warm gear. Inside here we have some snacks, anything from power bars, energy bars, and keep an extra bottle or two of water in your vehicle as well. So, and also a basic first aid kit. We have some of that space blanket as well. And a lot of this just isn't for me. This is for folks. If I come across someone that is stranded, I have warm weather gear. I have some snack bars, a basic repair kit as well. So this kind of goes both ways as far as for me as well as helping other folks out. So
and certainly we've all seen those folks on the side of the road. So so this can all this stuff can come in real handy for other folks that may need your help in addition to circumstances you may end up in yourself. 2
days after I built this kit, I used the shovel on a lady with extremely bald tires stuck just north of Buena Vista, and I thought, wow, good timing. So definitely.
I would add things like a tow rope. Be really handy for having someone pull you out of a ditch or be able to pull someone else out.
Yeah, I think Phil has a strap in there.
Yeah. And I don't have kids, but I know plenty of people who do, and they will tell you that having activity books for the kids is a godsend, especially if you're just stuck on I-70 waiting for it to reopen for a couple of hours.
That makes
giving
sense.
them something to keep them entertained, and if you travel with pets, a meal or two of pet food is a real handy thing to have as well. Because again, if you get stranded, if I-70 is closed and you're stuck in a hotel somewhere, at least Fido gets to eat.
Right. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about vehicles and some of so vehicles in many ways have gotten a lot safer over the past 20 years, but some features have actually made it a little bit harder for people to know when you guys are on the way.
Yes, they pride themselves on how soundproofed and how quiet the vehicle is. True story. However, it also blocks out our sound as sirens and horns. As a side note, we also see someone with a really well insulated vehicle, but then also they have earbuds in, and in the state of Colorado that is illegal. To have earbuds, headphones, earplugs, anything in for the driver. So we ask that you crack the window. That makes all the difference of hearing us coming. Even a plow truck, who doesn't hear a plow truck? So definitely cracking a window. With these vehicles today as well, they tend to give us a bit of a false sense of security with the ABS brakes, the airbags. Someone driving a nice Volvo today drives a little bit differently than they did with a 1970 Chevelle with a lap belt. And I think we're all guilty of that as far as I got ABS brakes, I got airbags, let's go. And
You're not invincible.
No, not at all. So, so understand your vehicle's limitations is definitely number one there.
As a State Patrol spokesman once told me years ago, all cars have four-wheel brakes, and that doesn't help you when you're trying to stop on slick roads.
Right. Yeah. ICE is going to win.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Well, any other tips or safety messages that you guys want to hit on this topic?
We would just reiterate, please be careful, be aware of what's going on around you. Don't drive distracted. Put down the cell phone. Don't tune in the radio station. Don't open the drink bottle that you've got next to you while you're driving. All of those things are just momentary distractions that can lead to bad situations. And when our emergency crews are out there, please be considerate of them, be safe around them, and help the other motorists who are stuck in the same traffic jam ease their way into the line to get past it safely. So
for folks who would be interested in finding out more information on the topics that we've covered today, or just information in general from Summit County Ambulance Service, where should they go?
We do have Facebook pages. Lake Dillon Fire Rescue has their own Facebook page, as well as Summit County Ambulance Service. Go ahead, like our page. There's good safety messages, as well as once in a while I put up a nice fun video clip or some fun pictures of you know, we can mix work with play. So
some ambulance shenanigans.
Yeah, exactly. So Facebook, Summit County Ambulance Service. Our main office is 970-668-5777, or our website as well. So.
All right, fantastic. Well, thanks very much, Phil and Steve. This is some great info. And we're going to take another quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about safety related to marijuana edibles.